Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video, and this is a paid request for Jonathan. Thank you so much for that. For those interested, requests in any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough, movie review, re-review, what have you, feel free to send it. I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those that sent it, thank you. I do appreciate it. I'll get to it when I can. And Jonathan wanted me to look into Hard Eyes, the new slasher horror film that came out this year, 2025. And I would say overall, I actually did like it. I actually did rather enjoy it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a movie that had a good... What it is that it does have some good kills in it, don't get me wrong. But what it does is that it establishes its slasher element, then it acts like a romantic comedy. And what helped was that I really did like the two characters, and them falling in love I thought was rather sweet. And they actually do take a decent amount of time developing the characters, developing the relationship, so when the shit hits the fan, I actually give a crap. And then, while the ending kind of times feels a bit like Scream, I will say this is better than any of those later Scream sequels. 4, 5, 6, I'm sure 7. I would gladly take this over any of those. Easily. And for a Valentine's Day horror film, it doesn't touch, nothing will touch the original My Bloody Valentine, but I like this better than Valentine from 2001. I'd probably say, like, story-wise, I like this better than... I don't mind the My Bloody Valentine remake. I don't mind it. But I would say, as a story, I like this more. So, I think it's definitely one of the better Valentine's Day horror films. So yeah, I did like this. I thought it was fun. At the beginning, we establish, this couple, and we see them going through this where they're ready to propose. I like how kind of Tish, it's all trying to be, even have the Lone Star song, Amazed. Which the lyrics, what was the lyrics like? I don't know how you do what you do. I'm so in love with you. It just keeps getting better. Which I remember hearing that song. I went, oh my god, I haven't heard that song in fucking forever. That's crazy. That brought nostalgia back. And I don't mind the song. I'm not a big country music guy, but I don't mind that song for what it is. And eventually, the couple gets killed, and then we're in our current characters, where you have Olivia Holt, who is supposed to do this presentation for this jewelry, but they get pissed at her because her presentation is about kind of tragedy of love, like Romeo and Juliet, like Titanic, and they get pissed at her, and she's like, you signed off on it. Well, that's before I knew there was some killer going around killing people on Valentine's Day. Because this killer's been doing this for years. So, she's someone, our lead character, who doesn't really believe in love because she had a boyfriend, but the boyfriend fucked her over. The boyfriend crushed her heart. So now she's definitely a bit more cynical. And then this guy has been hired to help her out, and she's wondering if he's going to take over her job. This is a guy that she met before, but didn't know who he was until now. He's played by Mason Gooding. And I didn't realize it's Cuba Gooding Jr.'s son. I might have seen him in something else, but I don't remember what it is. But okay. Wow, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s son. That's interesting. And I thought both did a good job. I thought they both were, like, Olivia had a little bit of, on her shoulder, a little bit of toughness. But again, when you find out what happened, you kind of get it. And then throughout it, that armor gets shredded, evaporates, is able to love and open her heart. And that's kind of the arc of her character. And you see how nice and sweet Mason Gooding is, and how he's treating her well and being nice to her. There's even a point where they have dinner. She snaps at him. He leaves. Then she apologizes. And like I say, they do a nice job establishing these characters, them just being cute. And you tell that it's got a twinkle on its eye to try to be not quite a parody, not quite mocking romantic comedies, but a little bit. Like when they first meet, they actually headbutt each other like twice. And it just, they came off eventually as a cute couple. I thought both actors did a really good job. I thought their back and forth were fine. Other people recognize there's the police officers, Jordana Brewster, who would be Paul Walker's girlfriend slash wife in the Fast and in the Furious movies. And then Devon Sawa. I didn't realize Devon Sawa was in this. Of course, from Idle Hands, on the first Final Destination. He's in this as a douchebag cop. And they kind of get involved with the investigation. And maybe some people, like, they see the opening and they're expecting like a kill every 5 minutes, and they don't get that and they'll be disappointed. But again, I like that it took the time to establish the characters to the point that when they do get chased, I give a shit. And then while the kills are not the most inventive kills, there's some good gore, there's some good practical stuff in there. The way people react to certain situations is definitely one of the fun parts of the movie. The way they react to the killer, they react to certain things, that's definitely part of the fun of the film. And I think the two actors really sold those reactions. Like, what the fuck? You know? This made it much more fun to watch, to see how they're going to react to the next situation. How do I get into it without... I gotta go into spoilers starting now. Before I do that, I thought this was fun. This definitely... I would say this is one of my favorite films of the year. Granted, it's not been that great of a year, so that's not saying much. But this film... Novocaine I liked. Love Hurts I thought was okay. The Day the Earth Blew Up, the Looney Tunes film I liked. Would I say this is my favorite film of the year so far? Maybe. Companion I didn't mind. Like I said, it's looking for crumbs this year in terms of movies, at least for me. So, but this was a tasty crumb. I'll say that. So let me get into spoilers. Starting now, spoilers. Like I said, you have the opening with the couple. I like some of the kills there. The guy's proposing to his girl, and he wants this guy to photograph it. He screws up, so you gotta do the proposal again, while this song "Amazed" by Lone Star's playing. And the guy's got the camera, and the killer throws a machete right through the camera to stab the guy. I thought that was cool. The guy, male fiance, he gets an arrow in the head, and then the girl, she gets chased, she gets wounded, she hides in this thing, and the killer starts this machine and it squishes her. Now, I think briefly you see an eyeball pop up. It's probably a CG eyeball, but I don't know, it went quick enough that it didn't bother me, and then the actual splat is practical. And then this always like creeps me out when they do this in movies, when you get the idea someone's been squished and then it cuts to like blood being draining, whether it's drops or whether it's just the images it paints on your head. Like you've been squished so much you just turn to liquid. Something about that always creeps me out. I can't help it. So I like those cutaway shots. And then you find on the news that this killer's been killing people for 2 years. We go to Seattle. Let's say we establish Olivia Holt's character, what's going on with her. She meets this guy. They accidentally headbutt. Her friend was funny. She's not in the film a whole lot, but the Olivia's friend, she has some funny lines. Oh, sorry, guys, she's getting fired today, so she's just out of it. When the lead shows her presentation, I did like that during the presentation, when people bleed, it's ribbons that fly out. I thought that was a nice touch, and I could see that happening because the ribbons would be more artistic. I just see them doing that in a commercial. Usually it would be that pretentious. I thought that was a nice touch. I didn't think... Now, her boss, which for split I thought it was Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I thought it was Elaine from fucking Seinfeld, but it's not. She was terrible. She was very over the top, very southern drawl, over the top, you know. Ready, waiting for her to talk about them Yankees there, down up north there. Just really bad over the top boss. She was terrible. Thankfully, she's not in the film much. Kind of wish her character got killed off somehow. Eventually, she gets chewed out. The guy she met at the coffee shop is going to work with her. She's thinking he's going to take her job. He's like, no, I'm not here for that. They get to know each other. Meanwhile, we're introduced to the cops, Jordana Brewster, who was also in the faculty as well, and Devon Sawa. Our two leads finally decide to have dinner. She tells about how romance is a farce, a lie, and I use some like fake cast hoe hunting guy in a suit, and he takes offense to that, and then she apologizes. She's sorry she acted that way. She forces a kiss on him because her ex-boyfriend is nearby and she didn't want to feel embarrassed, and she apologizes. But that one, fake kiss leads to their troubles because the killer saw that and then goes after them. So it does take its time. People say, movies don't take time to establish characters. This does, and I thought it was for the better for it. Just to repeat, I actually gave a shit when they were in trouble. And again, the reaction was funny. Before that happens, she gets locked out of her place. He's like, okay, I'll help you out. Listen, I got a towel. This is what's here, okay? See, that wasn't so bad. Then sees his finger cut. Oh shit, that's bad. And then she takes him up to fix his finger. Like, his reaction, I thought Mason Gooding did a good job. No pun intended. Face-wise, I don't see his dad. It's interesting because I was going to say, like, he's a lot better looking than his dad. Or something like that. So, maybe he got it from his mom's looks. I don't know. But I thought he was very likable, very charming. And then that's where you get to the horror yet again, because she's fixing him up, and then the killer's in the closet. And then that's where the movie doesn't stop. Pretty much, it's them being chased, them fighting back. There's one point where they're getting the door, and one of them is getting the buckles. What are you doing? Oh, do you mind out of the gutter? Then one gets hurt, and she runs away, and the killer chases after her. And then the cops come, and then they think Mason Gooding's the killer, because there's the mask and knife was left near him. And then I like this. He's pissed at her, going, you ditched me. No, I didn't. Yeah, you ditched me. So no, I'm not okay. Well, I thought you'd take care of them. These muscles are made... They're not made for violence. These muscles are made for cuddling. I thought that was funny. And I like that. I like that they established... I thought, oh man, that like... she's ditching him, and the movie's not going to think about that. The movie's going to think that's perfectly fine that she ditched him. No, they, like the movie as well as him, give her the slap on the wrist she deserves, and then later she apologizes and she's sorry about it. See, character work, character work. Why is that so fucking hard for other fucking movies to do? Character work. If they have flaws, then you mention those flaws, and then they want to work on those flaws and be better away from those flaws. Why is that so fucking difficult today? My God. Well, I mean, today this did it, but they don't fucking do that in Scream movies. At least the later ones. I think Michael, my friend Michael, I think he saw this, but I don't think he was a fan of it. I did not watch his review, to be fair. So I don't know what he didn't like about it, but I know Uncle Bill from Dead Pit, he liked it. I think it was in the chat Preminator. I think he said he liked it. I think it was him. But yeah, I thought this was a nice surprise. They get to the police station. Devon Sawa thinks he's the badass cop. The killer starts killing in the police. Now, granted, it's nowhere near the Terminator. It's nowhere near Maniac Cop 2. It's nowhere near, hell, Malignant. And yes, I put all those films above this. At least Terminator and Malignant I would put above this. I like Maniac Cop 2. But there's still some cool stuff. A cop gets impaled with a flag. I know a lot of the marketing had the hard ice mask with the lights on. It does do that once during this where it turns on night vision. I thought that was a cool look. Would have been nice to see that look a little bit more. It was nice to see. Devon Sawa gets killed. He gets a machete to the crotch. I did like when the pull back, you see a little bit of the indentation. I like that. So, like, these kills are not... That's the thing. If you want to watch crazy kills, you have Terrifier for that. And you know what? I don't like the Terrifier films. At least the two I've seen. I didn't see the third. I didn't get requested the third. But I saw the two... I didn't like the two Terrifiers because I didn't give a shit. I mean, yeah, the girl in Terrifier 2 is okay, but, you know, the pacing, the stories, didn't give a rat's ass about any of it. The kills are decent, and I give a shit about the characters and story, and I think the pacing was quick enough that it wasn't boring. So much more satisfying elements for me personally. I like the bit where Mason Green's trying to avoid the killer while he's handcuffed. Some nice choreography there. I like the bit where the girl tries to shoot and can't fire for shit, and then Mason Green gives her shit for it. They escape. They get to a drive-in theater. They hide out, and you have some nice moments between the two of them. And then you get some you get some decent kills. A tire iron to the mouth, and then the one girl gets killed as well, and then you see a hole through her, kind of like the 2003 Chainsaw Massacre film. I like the both of them. They're ready to leave, but like, no, we brought them here. We need to stop them, and the two of them work together. They work together to stop the killer and kill him. I did like the lead girl got sick and puked on the killer because she mentioned how she's not into blood. The only other time I've seen that is Dead Bane, where Don Johnson is running and he catches the crook and then he pukes on him. I thought that was rather funny. Again, the reaction to it. Now, this is where it gets a bit more into the stream elements, and yeah, I kind of wish for something a bit more original than trying to be like stream. Where spoiler, there are multiple killers. In fact, two more, so there were three of them. Where everything's fine, Mason Gooding gets caught, the lead girl gets to this, it's like a church, chapel, I forget where it was. And then you find out that Jordana Brewster is a killer. Then this Asian guy that we saw at the police station, he's the killer, and they're a couple. And they do this because it's kinky for them. And the third guy that our least killed at the drive-thru was a fan. So granted, it gets very like streamlight for that. Okay. But I did like the action that happened afterward. They want her to shoot Mason Gooding, but she shoots through his shoulder to get Jordana in the gut. And then it's pretty much Mason versus the guy and her versus the girl. So it's like couple versus couple. So I get what they're doing. I didn't mind that idea. And the way they killed the killers, I like. Jordana Brewster, from time to time, we've established that our lead girl has this kind of metal straw. So she puts that, then she pushes the killer, and the Jordana gets impaled. I thought, okay, that's it. But I guess she tries to get herself out and like inadvertently saws her own head off. And a lot of this done practical, and I appreciate that. I did not expect that part. I like that. I thought that was cool. And then Mason Gooding, I like what he says. He says, "You talk too much," and puts an arrow in his eye, throws him off, wax kind of melts his face. Then when he crawls back, Mason gets the crossbow that the killer used at the beginning of the film and shoots him right in the face. And then it's like, what, a year later or so, and they're still a couple. And they tried to make it seem like it would be a sequel bait ending, but they didn't, which I liked. Just the way it's done is they get a phone call, but it's her buddy that we really haven't seen since the first act of the film. Then she's talking, then the phone cuts out, meaning, they're tired, leave us the fuck alone, and then the movie is over. So there's no sequel bait ending. I appreciate that. This film didn't do the best, which is sad. Actually, now that I think about it, what was the box office on this? It cost $18 million, and it only made $30 million, 30 in the U.S., 2 foreign, so $32 million worldwide. I mean, that's not the best in terms of box office. And the director, I don't know the films he did before. Steer Me, Werewolves Within, and Death to 2021. Josh Ruben. Now, I'm looking at the writers of the film. Christopher Landon is actually the son of Michael Landon. For those that don't know, Michael Landon from Little House on the Prairie and Highway to Heaven. His son helped write this. Christopher Landon. And he also helped write Disturbia. Now, the Paranormal Activity sequels as well. But is this the same guy? Yeah, he directed Happy Death Day. Christopher Landon. And Freaky, which I liked. So yeah. And Happy Death Day 2 I didn't mind. It's not as good as the first. But yeah, Happy Death Day and Freaky I liked. So I didn't realize that the director of those helped write this film. And I didn't realize he was the son of Michael Landon. There's also Michael Kennedy, who helped worked on Freaky, which again I liked that film. And then there's another guy, Phillip Murphy. But yeah, this film, I mean, it didn't do the best box office wise, but I mean, it doesn't need a sequel or anything. This is 6.1. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a little. Considering fucking Sinners just like an 8.1, yeah, I think it's a bit low. Yes, I enjoy this a lot more than Sinners. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. It's my fucking opinion. If you disagree, that's fine. It's my opinion, though. This was a nice surprise. I did quite like this film. I think they could have put a little bit more of those kind of love songs throughout the film. Like some of those more classic love songs. I'm trying to think. If somehow, some way they put Glory of Love from Cryotip Part 2, like during the third act, that would have been the creme de la creme. Because I'm thinking like love songs, and I love Glory of Love. Like that would have been, something. But yeah, it would have been nice to hear a little bit more of those type of love songs throughout it. That keep that romantic comedy angle alive. You know, once in a while there's a little bit of CGI, but I mean, less so compared to other films of this ilk. And yeah, it got a little bit too stream-like, but again, it was a better Stream movie, if that's the case, than Stream 4, 5, or 6. And I guarantee you better than 7. So, I liked that. That was fun. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. And bye-bye for now. Later.